Hi, and welcome to another edition of Seniors Today. I'm your host, Tom Bartee, and we have two special guests today. We have Mr. Scott Foster, and he is the owner and manager of U.S. Bloom Cooperative, and his operations manager, Skye Walton. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did I say that right?
No.
No,
It's collective.
Oh, collective. Yeah, I should have known it was more collective than cooperative. But I'm sure it is cooperative collectively.
Yeah, we're very cooperative.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's cool. So I'm glad you guys are here today. And Scott, I've had you on the show before talking about some of the development of medicinal cannabis in the community. And now that we have 2018 and the state law making recreational cannabis legal, it changed things a little bit. And one of the things I thought we'd start out with is talking about the baby boomers and how some of the baby boomers are actually transitioning or maybe coming out about their use and so on and so forth. So maybe you could kick that off.
Well, the funny part about it is that we did a little survey, and that the highest grossing sales are from 65-year-old women. It's not, they thought it would be the 18 to 35.
Or 21 and up, young crowd.
And it's not. It's the older people coming in, especially women, that have the aches and pains, and that they're retired, they don't care, they're not worried about it anymore.
It's legal now.
They're not going to argue with them about it. They don't care what the public opinion is about it. It's legal, and they can afford it. And a lot of them come in because, like say, the aches and pains, but some come in because of medical conditions, and they want to get off of these opioids, which happens to be a big epidemic, which everybody's aware of. In fact, I was just watching a show last night of Roseanne, her new show, and the character she plays about her knee being hurting so bad she's on these painkillers, and how the next show will be addressing how she wants to get off of those. Hopefully it'll have something to do with cannabis, but it is a problem. So we have a lot of people coming in looking for another, some sort of medication besides the Norcos. Norco seems to be the number one drug they're trying to get off, and it could be because they've gone through cancer treatment, chemo, or whatever it is that they've come through an operation, the painkillers, and they've been on them for months, and they're trying to get off of them. And they're looking for a more natural way to do it. And the seniors themselves, like I say, they've welcomed this cannabis into their lives more than they would have, say, 5 years ago when they were afraid to come out about it.
1 year ago, even.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that it went recreational really loosened up. I mean, in fact, I would say majority of our patients or recreational users are older citizens in town. We thought it would be the younger people coming in that are 21 to 35, and that's not the case. I think probably they're still dealing in the black market, to be honest with you. They're not going to come in and pay the 40% tax that the government and state.
Is there still a strong black market even though now it's legalized?
Yeah, they pushed it back out to the black, because you got to be 21 to come in now under a recreational license.
So the younger kids.
For that 18 to 21 is still on the street. They're still buying.
Wow.
They can't come in under the recreational license. Then to get their medical recommendation, they've got to go to the state now to come up with that. You can get it through those fly-by-night places.
But those are, going out of business with adult use.
That's the FBN collective?
The FBN collective?
No.
Fly by night.
Oh,
Sorry.
we both were,
I'll
no.
say, there's so many acronyms nowadays, I can't even keep up. I hear them around the shop all the time. I say, no, what company is that? What agency is that? What bureau is that? But the black market is still thriving, and because of the fact that we can't purchase from, like last year we could buy, if you belonged to the collective, you were a grower, you could come and sell to us as a member of part of the collective. But January 1st, that stopped. You have to have a cultivation state license to be able to sell to a distributor, and then the distributor has to have a state license to sell to only state dispensaries. So we all have to be licensed all the way up the chain. So that stopped all those we call them backpackers, used to come in with pounds, and we would buy from if they belonged to the collective. but that can't be anymore.
And they dropped the regulations a month before they were supposed to be imposed. So you can imagine all the products that were out there that now are just floating because they can't be moved.
Yeah. And the 18 to 21-year-olds are probably...
Are happy to buy them.
And also the regulations are probably insufficient.
And the delivery services boomed all of a sudden. Now the city is just now addressing that and to stop these online delivery services because the black market went to delivery because there was no enforcement on it.
Yeah.
So now they're just starting to stop that now. So it's only delivery service will be allowed through dispensaries. Delivery, cultivation, manufacturing, distribution only through dispensaries.
So you don't think Walmart and Whole Foods are going to get into the
Not until after 2023. That's when the big guys can come in. Now, that's still
federally illegal,
level, it's not federally legal.
So they may not do
so
it.
Banks, no one can get in. So we may go through, and it depends on the president, and we might go through 2 terms before the federal government. Now in Canada, July 1st, their whole country goes live. It's completely legal. They're building 1-acre indoor facilities to cultivate, and they're building them next to airports so they can fly them out of the country. We have 13 countries in the world that it's legal. So they're doing international commerce while America sits on its ass doing nothing. They're going to make trillions of dollars. And this mere fact that in Vallejo, we could be making a lot more tax revenue, but they sit around and wait until they have to do something.
Yeah.
When we could be picking up, even through distribution. They gave me a distribution license. Of course, they took my zoning away in town. But if I had a distribution office, a warehouse, I could be buying hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of product and distributing it up and down between here and San Diego. But the sale initiates here, so I could pick up an extra. Say I did $20 million, I pick up an extra $2 million for Vallejo.
So the Canadian example,
whole country.
But those are state stores, right?
What's that?
In Canada, liquor is sold in state stores, and so I'm assuming that cannabis would be too.
I can assume that it would follow suit.
Yeah, it's not like our model where individuals such as yourself.
But they're doing international trade with other countries.
Yeah.
The United States needs to get on the ball and get with the rest of the country.
Get on the pot.
They get up there and they're going to make trillions of dollars in the next 8-10 years while America does nothing. People are buying more Canadian stock now than they ever have before because you can buy into those corporations.
Yeah. Well, you've got one fan with me. I'm totally behind it, but what kind of impact does my vote have? I don't know.
Well,
but going back to where he started with the over 65 crowd, and of course that doesn't include me yet. But I'm about pushing.
Banging at the door there.
Yeah. So most of these former hippies, now senior citizens, are experiencing the aches and pains, and they're using over-the-counter opioids, and you're suggesting that there's products that you have that can work for correcting the pain. And what would be some examples of that?
I think Scott
definitely
to answer that.
Well, we have a wide variety of products that can really be detailed to each specific person. For example, we have products that don't even have to give you a psychoactive effect and can be applied through vapor, through topicals, through edibles, dry flower. So definitely whichever preference someone has, whatever they have wrong with them, we're able to dial it down to be something that's specific to whatever their needs are. And I wouldn't say immediately we see people stopping their opioids right then. What it really does is it kind of helps them decrease the amount that they're taking. And then eventually the marijuana becomes the substitute. So it's not something that happens fast, but it happens gradually, and it's cool to see them become their true self and more natural.
So when you say non-psychoactive, what you're saying is you don't get stoned.
You don't get stoned.
You don't get high.
Yeah, the cannabinoid CBD, which we have throughout a lot of different products, does not get you high. So, I would say, for example, one of the most popular products would be our bath bombs and our topicals, because once applied topically to the skin, it blocks your pain receptors. It's an anti-inflammatory. It's an antispasmodic, so that CBD being applied topically to their skin and their body, anyone with arthritis, anyone who just got off, post-surgery, anyone who just has really bad pain in their body.
You just take it and just
You
rub
rub it.
on your knee,
I love the bath bombs because it totally encapsulates your entire body in that cannabinoid
like
profile.
The liquid you pour into the tub?
Yeah, a bath bomb is a really cool ball that kind of just bursts open in the bath.
Oh,
I guess
have
it's
a hot tub, you throw it in and it fizzes up, and then
And what's
it
really
releases
cool-
the CBDs, and it opens your pores up in a hot bath, opens all the pores in your body.
So it's an anti-inflammatory?
it blocks your pain receptors. It's an antispasmodic. So if with antispasms, that can be used for seizures. But a lot of people don't realize that it can also be used when you have really tense muscles. So when I see people who say that they have pain because they're just so tensed up all the time, imagine taking a bath in something that just exactly. I mean, and then there's lotions that you can attack that specific area and not get high at all. You could be at work and rub that lotion on, and it smells amazing. Nobody knows you are medicating, and you're not taking opioids. You're yourself.
And sleep as well.
Yeah,
CBD,
sleep.
that's another big issue. People come in, I
So
need
you use
something
it for
to sleep.
insomnia?
For sleep, I wouldn't. I mean, for sleep, since that is something that's very important. And when I see people who are struggling with insomnia, they're usually in a lot of pain and really trying to get something effective. So I don't usually recommend something that's pure CBD since it is non-psychoactive. I always recommend
THC.
a ratioed product of the cannabinoid profile itself. CBD, CBN, THC, THCV. There's so many different cannabinoids.
CBN.
CBN is very similar to CBD, but it's more sedating. Again, it's non-psychoactive. There's over 50 to 70 cannabinoids in the plant itself, and THC is just the only known one. That's the one that gets you high. CBD and CBN are non-psychoactive, but they're also very popular, and they're found throughout our edibles, and they're meant to, with THC and CBD and all of them working together, really ease you into sleep. And once it's digested through the liver, through a brownie, a sucker, or whatever it be, whatever you like to taste, the medicine is so much more powerful. It lasts almost 8 hours, so that's a full night's sleep. So I always recommend the edibles that are ratioed or the tinctures that are ratioed rather than a pure CBD product. But again, what's great is that California is making us dose these out precisely so that people are coming in and they're finding the specific ratio of cannabinoids that works perfectly for them. And we have a wide variety of ratios.
And you mentioned that the 65 and older crowd were old hippies. There's a lot of brand new people to this industry, not just people from the 60s that lived through this, but are brand new to this. So what you don't want to do is scare them. That's why they've limited in, like, say, a chocolate bar. It's got to be scored to 10 milligrams. Maybe the average dose is 30 milligrams, but they want it all in 10 milligram sections.
Low and slow.
So you can try it out. It may be a first time 65-year-old trying it out. So you want to help them ease into it. You don't want to scare anyone.
Yeah, it was really cool to see. I mean, the first week we went adult use. I saw a lot of 35-year-olds coming in and their parents right behind them, not talking to us. They were asking all the questions, and their parents would just sit there just like, oh, I'm just here, and like they wouldn't say anything. And then it's cool to see now them coming back. They're not afraid anymore. They're less afraid to ask the questions. They now see that, oh, this isn't a shop where you come in and we're hippies and you're coming to get high. No, we're here to ease you, tell us what is wrong, and we'll find something for you. And it's legal now, so there's that option.
Yeah, and part of the problem is a lot of people want to use it, but their insurance won't allow them. If any of this shows up in their system, they get their insurance canceled. So that's becoming a big problem. People that want to use it and know that it works,
but their
if it shows
doctor's
up in their
forcing
system,
them
then they say, well,
to choose.
And especially for the veterans, because
I
it's
know
government.
Kaiser was like that for a while.
Kaiser still is like that.
You said they're...
They still are.
Still
Any
like
doctor that is working for a facility that's federally backed can refuse medicine if you have medical marijuana in your system.
Insurance companies won't cover it.
Chemotherapy they can refuse. Like, that's
And
crazy.
because insurance companies are, by the way, are connected to the drug companies as well. So those drug companies don't like it, because they can't control it. But that's a whole nother discussion.
Well, and see, that leads us to, you had a question, I think, about what we were allowed to accept as far as members that come in. And so a lot of people are now not wanting to be coming in as patients, because once you apply for a state card through the state health department, you're then put into a database that your doctors, your employers,
they know about it.
they now can go in and see that you use medical marijuana, that you are a
Is that the
state
same way for
of a patient.
recreational then?
Adult use, there's no database. You literally go in with your 21 and up ID, we verify your date of birth, and we're able to make a sale with
You
you.
can come in with a passport. You can come in from another
You
state.
can come in from another country.
As long as you're 21, you can prove you're 21 years of age.
So you don't have to be a Californian?
No.
We get a lot of Texas, we get a lot of New York, we get a lot of just people visiting, and then that shows the tax revenue that this industry is bringing. It's bringing people out of state to Vallejo. So, I mean, just imagine a year from now where we'll be.
We just happen to be on the freeways, so we do pick up a lot of people just traveling up through 80 that are right off the freeways. They pop in.
Yeah.
And they're amazed to be able to do it, to come in and just freely buy what they like.
I'll tell you, it's phenomenal to me, thinking back to when I was in college, and all of us were thinking, sooner or later this is happening.
Well, I thought it'd be legal in the 70s.
Yeah,
Here it
I
is,
mean, 40
years later,
yeah.
whatever it is.
I can't believe it took this long, but
And we still federally are against the law.
Yeah.
In fact, we were just discussing that. That I pay taxes to the federal government, and that I pay just like a regular business my 280E,
But he can't
but I
make
get no
deductions.
deductions. Skye,
I
been
can't
working
apply
for
for a
7
loan.
years, and she's making pretty good money, but can't apply for an FHA loan. That's Federal Housing Association, because it's federally backed. She cannot apply for that loan.
So we're just now starting to see the hurdles that our industry is throwing at us.
She's working in a legal industry and pays her taxes and can't apply for that loan where someone else could. That's not fair.
I know somebody that can help you, some private money.
Well,
Okay.
we're going to get her handled anyway. But you see
Well, you see the little things we
problem.
come across that it's just us just trying to have a business that
Well,
is
banking,
normal to
you know,
us.
the same
I was
thing.
going to say banking.
Oh, it's-
Ah,
There was
that's
a thing
even.
on the news, Channel 5 or something, about an upsurge in the armored car.
Yeah, there's a new industry.
I
with
would
that
say,
for transport.
yeah, it's a new industry
Yeah,
because there's certain
and,
people who can't work with us.
Guard services.
We have an office at the state building in Santa Rosa, and downstairs is the franchise tax board. And one or 2 days a month they have CHP and armed guards, because
The same as
everybody's
me.
bringing their money in to pay their
The
bills.
same as me. I have to go to Oakland, and it's the same thing. It has
Yeah.
to be highway patrol, and even the parking lots. They have them in the parking lot all the way through.
And the state actually requires us to give them all of our procedures of safety protocols when it comes to transportation of things like that. So we're under strict observation from the state. So
Yeah.
this industry has to be.
Wow. So we were talking earlier about how the word is getting out and through different kinds of education that's available. And you had mentioned there's something coming up.
Actually, I was in this morning's newspaper about for seniors. They're having an event downtown. I believe it's next weekend, and it's really more of an arts class, but they're going to discuss to seniors about CBDs and THC and how to dose and not over. You're never going to overdose. We have natural receptors in our brain, in our body, that accept this plant material.
They might be
Unlike,
uncomfortable.
say like alcohol. We don't have receptors that accept alcohol. That's a man-made product. But this is a natural product, a plant product. And so it's strange to see, as we were going to talk about seniors today, and then I saw an article in the paper about the event downtown next week
I think
for
that's
seniors
really cool.
to educate them.
'Cause-
And I'm thinking, I should have thought of that.
I know.
Someone else is doing what I should have thought of. But in
Hell,
any
and
case-
maybe a new series of seminars.
well,
I can imagine that
We're
this is not
doing
going to be
it.
the first, the
We're
last
doing it with
one.
you.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
So, I mean, if we continue to do this every month, we'll just bring up the new topics that come up, and we see them. We get the calls every day, just like people call every day, 20 times a day. What do I need to get into the club today? You need a driver's license. That's all I need.
So you're thinking we should change our show name to Cannabis?
No,
Day?
but we might have to start doing a whole show on it because we have so many questions. It's such a big topic, and it changes so drastically
Does.
from month to month. And the bureau sends us, information every month. And
The regulations
there was a
get
90-day
changed.
extension, and on state license. I mean, this things that just happen because People, we could barely keep up with it. How is the public going to keep up with it?
How many different licenses do you have to have?
You don't have to have.
Half, yeah.
They allow for cultivation. Someone's got to grow it. And then that has to be regulated by Food and Ag and all the other departments. Water, where's your water come from? How much water? Where are your nutrients? How much pesticide? That's all regulated. And if they come by and they catch you with too many pesticides, you have to destroy that crop or you'll lose that state license. And before you can get that state license, you have to be okayed by your city or your county before you can even apply. So that's the procedure to get cultivation. The next thing is manufacturing. What are you going to do with that product? Is it going to be packaged and sold as flour, or is it going to be made into edibles or concentrates or vape pens, whatever it is that you're going to, whether that product, that's a whole nother license. Then the next step is being able to move it. How are you going to move it around? You have to have a transportation license. Then you have to have a distribution license before you can even come and sell it to us as a retail outlet. And then there's a delivery license. Then there's another license that, like, I have to have if I'm going to do an event, a convention type event with music and education and speakers at the fairgrounds here. I have a contract to do them with them. I just haven't got to it. But so there's a license for everything now.
You can also apply for a micro business license, which would require you to have all 4 or more of all the licenses that he just asked. So those are those big companies, that are fully integrated.
What would you say overall it costs for all the licenses you have to get? It's
a whole nother, because it depends on how large your grow is.
And it depends on the gross sales. It's a percentage off of our gross sales for the year of last year.
I read that.
So that's like a city business license.
Very similar.
Gross sales.
Right. And of course, the city of Vallejo, no matter what we make, they get 10% off the top. That's
just for the marijuana
just
tax.
for being here. So if we do $10 million a year, they get $1 million right off the top. They could care less what my deductions are, my rent, my PG&E, my employees. Whatever it is, they still get 10% off the top.
Wow.
And in the county, they passed a law last year that they get 15% off the top.
Yeah, so that's 25 at the bat, not counting the state sales tax
So
and the Vallejo sales
As
tax.
soon as the law went into
Oh, 100%. You should have seen the first day of January.
41% tax before you even...
How much?
41%.
It's 40% taxes. People were walking out the first day.
10%, 15%, the city sales tax.
And then the state sales tax. So that's 8 and 9 at rough numbers.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Well, just think how much money you could save if you just drink beer instead.
There you go.
Well, people are moving away more from alcohol. It's just like City of Vallejo. They're fine with if they're putting another brewery in or distillery. And now, what's his name wants to put a new. The big deal is the winery on the north end of our island, and breweries, distilleries, wineries, anything in the alcohol trade, they're head over heels for it. But you couldn't go to them and say, we're going to take 10% of the gross off the top. They wouldn't even, they'd laugh at you and leave town. And then they brag about, we're going to have tasting rooms as well. So we're going to put drunks on the street in the city of Vallejo. We're not even allowed
to medicate
on the premises. So, but I keep trying to tell them, the alcohol industry is going down. They just fired 65 people from Southern Wine and Spirits in San Francisco a month ago. They didn't fire them. They just
let them go.
Released them early because this industry is going down because people have a choice now. This industry is coming up. And I would be very careful about investing in so much in the alcohol industry. This is going to dwarf the alcohol, tobacco, and caffeine business combined. And that includes the wineries. I mean, this industry is just going to boom. It's going to be wide open. It's been upgraded from $1 billion business to $1 trillion business. This is not some fly-by-night industry that's going to go away. In any case, I know you're getting the signal here. But
no, my nose itches.
No, I thought you were signaling.
Maybe it needs some CBDs.
Yeah, some anti-inflammatory issues. Nostril spasm. I've got something for you.
Yeah, that's probably in the fine print of what it's good for.
Yep.
So the last thing that I was hoping we could talk about was how the new city master plan for zoning is impacting the location of some of the collectives.
Well, first and foremost, this new 2040 general plan affected some of my personal properties. Forget this industry. It blanketed certain areas like on the freeway that changed my freeway commercial to business entertainment, and then they even downzoned that to business corridor, which, you know, it's not right. But back to this industry, you know, they gave us cultivation, manufacturing, distribution to go along with our licenses, because they just didn't want a bunch of other businesses coming to town right now, at least not until 2023, I believe. So with that, they said, okay, we'll allow you dispensaries to have these licenses, but you can only have an industrial intensive use. So they took it to Planning Commission. Planning Commission passed it, said, okay, well, we'll go along with that. But in the new 2040 general plan, they got rid of all the industrial intensive use areas in town. They blanketed those and turned them into business residential. They didn't even go out and look at them. If you went out and physically looked, you'd see that they were intensive industrial units. So in other words, they gave us these licenses in this hand, but they took it away in the 2040 general plan for us to move to.
So there's an opportunity for the general public to look at their zoning and maybe bring their desired, either keep the zoning the same or whatever they might want, to bring it to the attention of the Planning Commission and the City Council before the final zoning declaration is adopted through the new ordinance. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's why I'm going next on the 21st to the Planning Commission to speak about these conditions on the new general plan and the issues and why I think they need to take another look at it. And they say, well, you could do this in that zoning and you could do this in this other zoning. I said, look, I don't need a lesser zoning. I need the highest zoning. It's a hell of a lot easier to have the highest zoning and step down from that than to come into a lower zoning and try to beg for a variance and try to go up and have to go clear back through the commission to get the same thing that I should have had in the first place.
So if you can believe it, we're out of time already.
Well,
and so I just want to wrap up by saying that for our audience that has been listening today, there's a great opportunity for anybody that has medical issues and is dealing with pain or issues with inflammation or whatever, to come on down. And you don't even have to buy anything. We have experts at the local
to educate you.
They can tell you what you might be able to use and maybe give you an opportunity to check it out.
They're more than welcome to come down.
All right. Well, thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
We'll do it again.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Well, with that, that's all the time we have for today. Our show airs at 6 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays on Comcast 27, AT&T Uverse 99, and streaming live video at vcat.tv. Come see us again next time.